Freedom Fighters, I'm coming back at you with another episode of Truck Talk. Today's video topic is going to be one that I've been wanting to make for a while, or not really wanting to make, but I've talked about making it. It's one of those ones where, you didn't really want to make, but you have to make. But people were asking me, what is a freedom fighter? What is freedom? I think one guy was just being a smartass, and he wrote something like, "Oh, well, firefighters fight fires." He's like, "What does a freedom fighter fight? Are you fighting against freedom?" And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's self-explanatory, that we're fighting for freedom, and a freedom fighter is a pretty known term for that. And I mentioned in one of my other videos, the reason I called myself that is because I knew the government was going to consider, free-minded, constitutionalist, whatever you want to consider it, libertarian values, free thinkers, terrorists. And that's pretty much what, people across the world in robes and flip-flops call themselves freedom fighters. And you know how we look at them. But what is freedom? I'll tell you what it is. Your neighbors hate it. Your friends or your family members might even hate it. Your coworkers hate it. And, again, it's kind of sad. I've said before, when I even have to explain this to people, it's like, it's a sad state of affairs. But I go back to thinking about this one New York Times article. You could probably still look this up today. It's probably still posted. But it was like, government surveillance is good and keeps you safe. And it was like, the whole article was like, big government, good. Surveillance state, police state, good. Freedom, bad. And, of course, people are beeping at me, and I'm not even the way. But anyway, it's absolutely crazy. And then thinking about a CRS's court case, I can't remember if it was one of the jury members or one of the people that were, talking about it, that he actually broke no law, but they still said, it was too dangerous. The ATF couldn't assemble any firearm. They couldn't get any firearm to work with this so-called printable lightning link. But they were just like, the whole thought of this is too dangerous. So again, it becomes, it's all about safety. It turns in about what makes people feel good and what's safety. And I talked to before, these aren't my countrymen. How could I ever get a jury of my peers, with these people? These are the people who are judging you. These are the people who are throwing you in prison for your God-given rights. And God forbid any of us get, forced in front of a courtroom, but who are going to be the jury of my peers? My 500, 600 subscribers or something like that. I have like 1,000 followers on True Social. But my videos are so far suppressed. I mean, I get like 40 to 50 views. I mean, are those going to be the jury of my peers? Because otherwise, that ain't going to work. But I appreciate all my subscribers and my viewers. And, I'll take this time to, once again, say, like, share, subscribe, help me out, sharing the content and all that. But, what is freedom? I'll repeat it. Your neighbors, your coworkers, your community, they hate it. They think it's too dangerous. They love being slaves. Now, they won't openly say it like that. I've had many conversations with these people. You have to, coax them into the point where they eventually admit, they value safety over freedom. And you know the saying, dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. And the Benjamin Franklin quote, those who trade their freedom for safety will lose both and deserve neither. And you even have the people, the so-called Republicans or whatever. I mean, they're rhinos, but, all these FUDs and stuff, they campaign on Second Amendment rights. They put a shotgun over their shoulder or, don a hunting vest and talk about the Second Amendment. And then whenever it comes to, anything higher powered than, a single action bolt rifle or pump action shotgun, well, then it becomes but and not that stuff. I mean, I'm for the Second Amendment, but not with that. And it always comes down to people wanting to be safe. And whenever you talk to people, that's always what it comes down to. And they're like, well, what you're talking about is just chaos and anarchy and all this stuff. And I think it was Mussolini, or not Mussolini, it's the other, who was that guy? Definitely wasn't Mao. I think it was Molinari. Mussolini, Molinari, whatever. But it was about anarchy. And it said there's no guarantee, that some people won't hurt, kill, kidnap, defraud, or steal from others. But with government, it's a guarantee. So everything everyone's afraid of, like, it happens already with government in place. And everyone knows the well-known saying, give a man a gun, he might rob someone. Give a man a bank and he'll rob the world. So, I mean, it all comes down to they can't keep you safe. They can't guarantee your safety. But what is guaranteed? I will guarantee you, you will lose your freedom if you rely on these people to, to keep you safe or to run your communities or whatever, man. It's all about self-governance, the right to choose. I'm looking for the terms here, but, self-governance, reliability on yourself, community ties, like that. But once you get government involved, and then it always gets, big government, it goes bad. And then, I talk about the FUDs and all these, politicians. They pretend, to be, and so, on the left side, they pretend to be anti-gun, but they're anti-you having a gun. And these people have guards and they carry and stuff. There's a lot of leftists, congressmen and governors and mayors that, are hardcore gun control. That the Congress lady, I forget what her name, in California, she's a literal, Bass. I think it's Karen Bass. She's a literal communist, and they broke into her house and stole firearms. And it's like, wait a second, what? Well, you're armed. Again, it's because they want the arms. It's against you. I remember another congressman, I think in Cali, that was like a Black Lives Matter activist or something like that. Some protesters pulled up to their house, and he pulled a firearm, stuck a pistol out the door. So, I mean, again, all these people are armed. They're just anti, you having a gun, anti you having freedom. And, there's the famous meme of a protester that has the sign that says, is your freedom more important than safety? Absolutely it is. And CVID was the big tell. We know that all the people, your friends, your family, your co-workers, the people who just said, man, just wear a mask, bro. Just put it on. It's no big deal. Just take the shot. Just do what you have to do. Go along to get along. Those are the people. They don't value freedom, and especially this newer generation. I mean, I think I saw an article too that was like Gen Z. A third of Gen Z believed in installing government cameras. Look this up. I can't remember if that was also New York Times, but it was like they polled the younger generation, and they're like, oh yeah, like we need cameras everywhere. And I believe this was even like in-home monitoring. And it already is, man. Smart TVs, your cell phones, all this, they're all listening and watching on you anyway. But this article was talking about like literally like government funded, cameras. Big Brother, in your house. And I remember one time too, I was trying to get a petition signed for something, and it was for a freedom, minded cause, and no one wanted to sign it because, like, and I guess a lot of people were like, oh, you're going to be on a list or something. And it's like, if you're not on a list by now, man, like, it's whatever. But the whole write your congressman, write your mayor, your governor. I mean, how about you just live free? Live free or die. Maybe I should move. I talked about it before in New Hampshire, but even them, they're going downhill, man. There's not any place left to run to, which I was saying a while. I'm going to do a video of balkanization won't work. But, look at Massachusetts, man. The home of the Tea Party. Lexington, Concord, and all these places, are communist zones now. We're losing territory. Freedom-minded people in America, and even people, like I've said multiple times, in Florida or Texas, everyone thinks like, oh, this is the big bad red state, and, they're not going to do anything here. They're passing communist, dictatorship, tyranny laws in those states as well. Though they're just as much as police states as everything else. I mean, you're a little, separated from the absolute tyranny of like New York or Cali, but you're still not free. And for people like us who want true freedom, it's rough out here for people like you and I. I mean, and all these gun laws and everything and free speech and I saw in Brazil too, which is another one, Lula in Brazil, they just had a coup, and he said, he wants the weapons out of civilian hands because there's too many deaths and that. And he said, even the ammo hordes, we don't even want you having ammo. Yeah, you have to turn in your firearms. I think they've had gun confiscation before, but people were allowed to keep the ammo. But now he's like, no, we're confiscating ammo and everything. That's for the police. That's for the military and the special forces. Those are the ones who did the coup. But, that's always been their playbook. That's how they operate. And freedom, we're just a generation away from losing it all, man. And I think I talked before about that Vivek Ramaswamy interview with Dave Rubenstein. But, he was like, if we still have this problem when my kids are grown up, like, I forget what he said, maybe civil war or revolution is inevitable. That's always been the point where I operate from. I've pretty much realized it's inevitable, man. The America that you and I most know and the freedom that you and I are talking about doesn't exist. And the majority of people, like I said, your neighbors, your friends, your co-workers, they're not for that kind of freedom. They don't even know what that kind of freedom is. But, let me know, man, if there's anything else we could talk about. And I did kind of want to get into the Constitution and stuff like that, because people say, I believe it too. The FUDs will be like, oh, no, the Constitution, I believe in that, and it says we have the rights. It's not even about the Constitution. It's not even about all that. This supersedes that. This came before that. And the Constitution just, solidifies it. But I'm probably going to talk, that's going to be Friday's video where we talk about that. But, man, until the next one, you know what it is. We are on our own. Nobody's coming to save us. So get right with God, because only God can save you. Freedom Fighters out.